I failed my first Ironman. After months of training and a 6 hour drive to Leeds, I made it through the swim, halfway through the bike, and quit. So, what went wrong? Let's get into it. What is an Ironman triathlon? An Ironman is a long distance triathlon, considered one of the most challenging one day endurance events. It consists of a 3.9 kilometer swim, a 180 kilometer cycle, and then a marathon to follow, so 42.2 kilometers. Yes, I work in kilometers. Get over it. Training. I have a confession. My whole training plan was created using ChatGPT, which in hindsight might explain a few things. Looking back though, I don't think the plan was too bad. It was a 12-week plan which increased in intensity every 3 weeks, just tapering before the event. The problem was me. Without someone there to push me or the fear of letting someone down, I don't think I completed all the sessions at the desired intensity, or I would have a big break in between workouts where it was meant to be like a brick session. Instead of focusing on Ironman, I also decided to do several, maybe unnecessary side quests. In March, me and my friend Terry took part in a High Rocks men's doubles. For those that don't know, High Rocks is a hybrid athlete event of a 1 kilometer run followed by a strength based exercise and repeat it 8 times. We got a time of 1 hour, 19 minutes and 12 seconds, which we were very happy with as we had never done anything like this before. I then agreed to the Clacknaben Hill Race in April with another mate, Dan. As the name suggests, it's a hill race up and down Clacknaben, a 589-metre hill in Aberdeenshire. Don't let the smiles in the photos deceive you. I hated every second of this. To this day, Dan still reminds me of the near tantrum I threw on the first steep incline. He was very kind and ran at my pace from the start to finish, which took us 2 hours and 17 minutes to cover the 14-kilometre run. Now, this race wasn't smart for two reasons. One, as noted before, guys my size are not built for hill races. And two, a week later I was taking part in the Moray Marathon. This was my first marathon and came a bit too soon in my training plan, but it was good to set a time down and see how my body reacts to running that distance. The furthest I'd run to this point was a half marathon, and that showed in the race. After about 23 kilometers, my kilometer split times decreased drastically as I was forced to adopt a walk-run strategy to cross the line in a time of 5 hours and 11 minutes. Like I say, ideally this would have come later in my training, but I'm happy I completed it. Nutrition. This will be a very quick review. I was having weekly takeaways, like my nutrition was atrocious. Like I was not getting enough protein in my diet. I was not having a balanced, nutritious diet at all. I kind of had the mindset of basically eat what I want because it doesn't matter. I'm going to burn the calories anyway with how much I'm working out. But that certainly did not feel like the case on race day. But the real disaster that happened 24 hours before even getting in the water, and it nearly didn't happen at all. How shiny is my head looking at this angle, by the way? Race day. Race day didn't start great. Well, the day before didn't start great. We made the long drive down from Aberdeen to Leeds, 6.5 hours if you're interested. And on the way down, we received a message from our Airbnb host that there was a leak in the place, and she had arranged another place for us. It all seemed weird, and when we looked at the reviews again, someone else had said the same thing, but 6 months ago. So either they were taking their time getting that leak fixed, or were just straight up lying. We arrived at the other place and soon realized very quickly that it was either just her or her sister's flat, so we cancelled that and bounced. Luckily, there were still rooms at the local Holiday Inn, and it was actually cheaper than the Airbnb we'd originally booked. So it worked out well, or well, so we thought. Fast forward to 2 a.m. and the fire alarm in the hotel going off, and a group of Ironman ready people all standing outside in the cold, waiting to get back in and try and get some sort of sleep. We were up early and made our way across the start line. At this point, it is worth noting that this was the first time they'd done an Ironman event in Leeds, so there was no past data to look back on. Also, I'd signed up before the course route had been announced. The swim was always going to be in a lake, so that was fine, but the bike route had way more elevation than I'd hoped for, and the run route seemed okay. The swim was 2 laps, the bike 3 laps, and 4 laps for the run. Looking at the routes, I knew that the bike session was always going to be my toughest. It was what I trained the least, and it was my weakest of the three. My mindset was going into it, if I get through the cycle, I would complete the race. As my name would suggest, I lined up at the very back of the funnel of 2,500 competitors. My aim was always just to complete the race, not win it. I was literally in the second last wave of 3 people to enter the water, and away I went. As mentioned, the swim was 2 laps of the lake, which meant when I entered there were many competitors starting their second lap. Nothing prepares you for this. The amount of bodies and limbs that are jostling for space is crazy. I lost count of the amount of times I was struck by a flailing arm or leg during that first lap, but by the time I started my second, the amount of chaos decreased massively. I was able to take advantage of the space and concentrate on my own performance. I was very happy with my time of 1 hour and 46 minutes, especially considering I swam the whole distance in breaststroke. Yeah, that's right. I did the whole swim breaststroke. If you're enjoying this, and I think you are, then hit subscribe. I'm coming back stronger this year. I tried front crawl during my training, but I found the amount of time required to get that stroke as quick as my breaststroke would be far too long, and my time was best served improving my breaststroke. After the swim, I took my time getting into transition 1, where you change from your swimming gear and get into your cycling attire. I took my time there as in my head I wanted to be out on the bike within 2 hours, so I had time to decompress and compose myself for the bike. The bike start, well, I was in good spirits, but the elevation difference soon took its toll on me. I realized fairly early on that I was below my desired pace, and I was on the brink of not making the cut-up if I didn't speed up. Then came the now famous Black Hill Road. 1.5 kilometers of incline with the steepest part was 19%, which for context is basically vertical. I got roughly halfway up before I had to jump off the bike and walk up, but the support from the viewers on that section was incredible, like nothing I'd seen before. And bear in mind, this was a 3 laps course. I hoped I would get my average pace up after this with a lot of the downhill sections, but because I don't live near the area and hadn't ridden the route before, the fear of the unknown came into play. I felt I couldn't go my maximum speed in the downhills or round corners as I didn't know what was coming next. Ultimately, I knew I wasn't going to hit the pace required to make the cut-off and called it a day after the first lap and not waste my time or energy avoiding the pickup bus that picks up competitors they know won't make the cut-off. I was disappointed that I'd failed and felt guilty that I dragged my girlfriend along for the ride, pun intended, and a bit lost as this was my first time I'd ever DNF'd a race. I think the hardest part wasn't failing the race, it was feeling like I'd wasted everyone's time. My girlfriend had driven all the way down with me. I told people I was doing an Ironman, and then halfway through the bike, I just quit. What I'm doing differently. First of all, I have a coach. He was the owner of Total Endurance, which is a triathlon shop based here in Aberdeen. He's given me tailored training sessions based on my ability and the data through the coaching app Training Peaks, as well as monthly video calls to discuss progress. I'm not sponsored by Total Endurance in any way, but they've been phenomenal to me. I originally bought my road bike from them and they could not have been more helpful. And to continue with the Total Endurance loving, I've also been getting swimming lessons at their facility, which seems like a strange thing for a 35-year-old to say, especially when I swam competitively when I was younger. But as mentioned, I did the swim section of Leeds breaststroke, and although I was happy with my time, my coach wanted me to switch to front crawl to get the time down and to hopefully use less energy. They have an endless pool, which I have been using to correct my swimming technique, making small changes to work on before going back in. I'm now taking my nutrition seriously. fueling correctly for each session and getting the right amounts of protein, etc., into my diet for the sessions and for recovery. And I'm no longer eating junk food. Well, at least trying to cut it out, you know. This year, the goal is to come back stronger and actually finish the thing. So, if you want to follow my journey to completing an Ironman, subscribe and let me know in the comments what's the hardest physical challenge you've ever attempted and any training advice you can give me. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. I'm not actually on the toilet. I've got my shorts on. The toilet seat's down. Toilet seat's down, guys.